Hello and welcome to another episode of AVR Gaming. My name is Jacob and today we're doing yet another world tour of my Minecraft city world. So if you saw the first tour you would have seen I did some buildings, there was some Japanese temple kind of thing. My world is vaguely inspired by Tokyo, Japan, that kind of thing. It's nowhere near accurate, but that's kind of what it's inspired by. And since that video, I have done quite a bit of building, a lot more than I would have expected actually, so yeah, I just did enough that I felt it warranted another showcase. As you can see here, this is all new. Everything that you see around here is new. We are just at the southwest corner of the city, so I'm basically just going to go through the whole thing and show you everything that I've been working on and kind of talk about it and yeah, just basically do a nice world tour for you guys. So, here you see we are at this nice little crossroads here. We got some traffic lights, an obvious KFC over there, and these cool little overpass thing that I built. I got a lot of ideas going on Google Earth and places like that, and when you go to Tokyo, Japan, there are quite a few of these little overpasses, so this is something that's accurate to the area. So I wanted to try making one, and this one turned out quite nicely, so I might add a couple more of these around the place. But when you don't have overpasses to cross these massive roads, which I've been constructing, and they do take a lot of time and effort, but they're so worth it. One of the things I noticed most cities, Minecraft cities that people build, lack are big roads. All their roads seem to be really tiny. I think that has a lot to do with when people first start out building their cities, they underestimate how big roads actually are. And so they make really simple roads, and then as they develop as builders during the course of their city builds, they're kind of restricted to the roads they originally started with. So you see a lot of really crappy roads and some really amazing cities. So I tried to put in as, nice, big, decent roads as early on as I could. And it's really paid off for me, but they do take a lot of work. But the next thing you'll notice is traffic lights. I got these really fancy little traffic lights going on here. And are they a mod? All these fancy blocks that I've got going on here? No, these are custom player heads. So for those of you guys who don't know, you can actually use your player heads. Like I got a player head right here, which is my face here. That's my character if you're if you've never seen them. But you can actually use command blocks to add, or just commands. You don't have to use command blocks, but they're probably the easiest way to do it. But you use commands to get player heads of any player existing, their custom designed head, and you can use it as a block in your game, and there's whole websites full of catalogs of various different designed player heads that can be just used as decoration blocks in your world. So I'm going to be doing tutorials on how to build these specific traffic lights and traffic lights without using these specialized blocks as well, just on little details for your city future on in the future. But this is just a little showcase of what the traffic lights that I've designed and come up with look like in my world. But I'll be doing a few different designs for like a future tutorial, like I said. And pardon me if you see me like progressively getting redder and wetter during this showcase, and it's not an innuendo, it's like, oh, it might be like 40 degrees Celsius or something today because I live in Australia and it is summer and it is a bitch. So sorry about that in advance, but luckily my face is just a little itty bitty face in the corner, so hopefully it won't be too bad for you guys. Anyway, on to this KFC. So this is a KFC that I designed, my own little KFC design, and I'm quite proud of it. I think it turned out really nice. And I'm also really proud of how this sign came out. This KFC design is vaguely based off of some real KFCs that I've seen, but again, it's all my, as a whole, it's my entire design. And I'm really proud of how this sign came out with the bucket on top, because I've seen a lot of attempts at this done, and some of them don't look as nice as others, and I really wish we had half slabs that went vertically, so I could tweak this sign a little bit, because a nice half slab that was vertical right here on the K would look so good, but we don't have that in the game, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to make this KFC sign in the near future, if I remember to get to that. But for now, you can just get a good look at it, and if you want to build it in your world, you can kind of pause the video here and copy that. 'Cause, yeah, I'm proud of how that came out. And we'll just tour the inside of this KFC, which utilizes a lot of those player heads, as I brought up. So we got all of these ones you can find as player heads, and they're just perfect decoration for KFC. And I use them all across here for the actual food labels, or like the menu that you see here. You got the cash registers. Yeah, player heads are just bloody wonderful. So really happy with how this KFC turned out. It actually made me really hungry while I was building it, but I haven't eaten KFC in a long time, so maybe I'll go just in the spirit of building this thing. Also added a bathroom here. Oh, I hate it when that happens. I use these bits as walls, the trapdoors, because they're just brilliant blocks to use as, you know, thin little walls. But sometimes when you have a pressure plate or a button near them, as I use for my toilets here, which are the toilet lid, and like, I don't know, that could be like the paper roll or whatever, dispenser. And this is also a soap dispenser or whatever you want it to be, really. And banners. Banners are really good for, you know, custom banners for mirrors and stuff like that. Just get rid of some of this crap here for now. Yeah, just an overview of the bathrooms, which I'm sure is what everybody wanted to see when they clicked on a link that said World Tour, or City World Tour. Here we got the inside of our KFC. They got like the fridge section and like raw chickens, again player heads, all these player heads. It's so useful. Under here is a really cool little tip. These are banners, of course, but behind the banners, if you can see, we have the campfires, which provide smoke, which does go through one block above the campfires, which is just perfect for these little stove tops, which I've put here. And this, which is a honey block, which is a great new block. And that's a little metal basket, which is meant to be like a deep fryer. So that's honey is meant to be like hot oil, and that metal thing there is meant to be like the little cage thing they dip in with all the chips and stuff and whatever. More player heads in here, of course, Pepsi cans, because KFC always has Pepsi. And back here we got some access little computer things for, this is where the people sit and take your orders and deliver them at the drive-thru. Working at the drive-thru. No, it's car wash, isn't it? But, yeah, so that's my KFC. We won't linger on every building quite as long as this KFC. It's just one of the ones which are fully furnished, so I'm really proud of it. Moving on, it's one of my work-in-progress skyscrapers run in front of us. I have quite a few buildings which are work-in-progress buildings. This is the first building I actually used ice for the windows, because it looks so beautiful, but the problem of using ice, despite it being just so nice because it's like a nice smooth finish, it isn't all broken up like regular glass is that ice tends to melt if you put light blocks too close to it. So that's kind of a bummer. I'm really scared to light up this building because I don't want it to turn into a waterfall. But yeah, this is a nice big luxury hotel, modern style building that I'm working on at the moment. We'll see how it pans out. It's just kind of, most of it's done. 2/3 of it are done. Well, actually 3/4 to be a little more accurate, maybe. But this last chunk here is missing, as you can see. I don't know if I'll do the interior for this one. The way I go about interiors is I generally do some interiors, but almost certainly not all of them in every building, because life's too short. This is, if you've seen my other Let's Play series where I actually do Minecraft playthroughs in survival. This is the picture that you have on the thumbnail. I built it in this world. I'm going to build over it, sadly, but I built it too close to the city center, so it's going to be built over eventually. But it's still here for now, so you can enjoy it while it lasts. Moving on, we got all these roads. I've tried to make the roads angle off, not to be stuck to the grid, because that's one thing that makes cities really boring too, is if the roads and the buildings... Oh, Jesus. Neighbors are revving their fucking car again. I have some neighbors which are like total rev heads who are working on building a car. They've been building it for about 2 years now. It looks completely the same every time I see it, but they're constantly tweaking stuff in the engine, so it gets annoying sometimes. I like to rev that shit and play shitty dubstep music really loudly from it, sometimes really late at night, which can be a bit irritating, but whatevs. Moving on, before we get to all that fun stuff over there, I was just talking about the... Still revving. I was just talking about the roads. I like to angle them off, which can be really difficult to do, especially with all the road markings, but it really is worth it, and I'm really happy how this sort of turning out. Curved roads are a whole nother can of worms, but if you can do that shit, it looks great. So I'm going to try and put more of those in eventually. The city is unfinished, it's going to keep going that way, and got this little bridge here. I like working in not super flat worlds, so this is of course a regular Minecraft world. It does have its downsides, which is that if you build on the normal height, which I tend to do because I like using the actual landscape that you get in a standard Minecraft world, you're limited to the world height, which for this building, which I already showed you in my first video about the city, but in case you haven't seen it, and just because I'm really proud of it, this is my Tokyo Tower, which is looking a little bit awkward and phallic because it's missing the spire, which should extend it for at least another quarter, if not a third, of its existing height. Which really bums me out because I really would love to see this building in its entirety, because I think it's one of the only ones of its kind in Minecraft that I have seen, at least. I've seen some other ones if I just like Google Tokyo Tower Minecraft, and there are some, but they all look really old and outdated and not as elegant as the one I've built. Then again, I'm sure there are plenty that I just haven't seen and aren't, publicly out there. But yeah, that's probably my favorite building and sort of the central hub of the city in my mind, and we'll go inside it in a little bit. It's not really furnished, but I have a world map that I've updated inside there. Here we see more of these traffic lights and one of my most completed blocks in Minecraft. So we'll go through a couple of these buildings individually, but just as a whole, I'll show you these two buildings here are the ones that I'm currently working on. So literally no more than like half an hour ago, I was still working on these, building these quite intensely. So these are my work in progress ones. This is my attempt, because I looked on a few videos of other people's cities to get inspiration, and they're really helpful. And this is a technique that I saw in one of them that I really liked as a way of doing those entirely glass sort of modern skyscrapers. Of course, I couldn't help but put a ribbing of this white, I believe it's white concrete. I don't think it's, yeah, white concrete. It could be snow. I forget sometimes. They're both good white blocks. But some people build these with like completely glass along the outside, but I still had to put the little ribbing around it just to give it more structure, because it's really hard to make those buildings look good in Minecraft. But I really like the technique of building like the framework inside and then covering it with glass. I believe these buildings are called curtained buildings because they're curtained with glass around the entire outside. And what I did is, if we go on the inside, we put some, they're made of cyan concrete, is the main building block for it there. And we just have some light grey concrete as some of the ribbing around the inside to add all the flooring, and some grey concrete to add like dark looking rooms, and some bright yellow stained glass to do the windows and some lighting behind that. So it looks really effective from the front, I think. And the downside is, of course, we can't really furnish these buildings properly from the inside. At least the outer walls will, look a bit awkward not being transparent. But from the outside, they look so nice. So I'm going to be definitely doing a lot more of these ones in the future. This building here is one of my least favorite buildings, but at least, again, it's not snapped to the grid perfectly. It does have some shape that follows this kind of angular road, which I like. This building here that I'm currently working on is a huge parking garage, because a thing that a lot of people forget in these cities, and actually I'll just quickly sleep, so we can see this place in the daylight a little bit more. But a thing that people forget in these cities often is parking, because you need a lot of parking for a massive city. So this is one that I've just started working on. These ramps I'm pretty proud of because they kind of twist in a nice way. And yeah, this is going to take a long time because I want to actually add all the parking to it. So you can see I've kind of started down here. And it's going to have a lot more floors that go down underground as well, just in case we run out of virtual simulated parking in this Minecraft city. Another thing that I did was I added a little broken car here just for fun, again utilizing that smoke effect that you get from those campfires, and the way these stonecutter blocks move is just perfect for a little car engine. So I thought this is just a cute little touch. This building here I actually got I entirely copied, aside from the air conditioners and a couple of minor details, I entirely copied from a picture of a building from Google Images when I just Googled Minecraft city buildings or something like that, and I like the look of this one. It's much more in the Art Deco style, the copper domes. I think of this building as like the city bank or something, just because it has that sort of stereotypical like New York City type bank look to it, at least to me. So it doesn't fit perfectly in like the Tokyo setting, but I figured, you know, it's a nice building. It'll kind of meld in after I build enough weird buildings anyway. So I added that in. Here are just some simple apartment. This is like a little apartment building. This is, I don't know, some sort of business building. I don't really know what it is, but just wanted to fill in space, really. But I like the way these stairs turned out here, because I tried to, again, looking on Google Earth of Tokyo, they have a lot of these sort of stairs, whereas like New York buildings, for example, have those like fire escapes that are like on the side and have ladders and stuff, or like you know, metal stairs that run along the side of the building. In Japan, they tend to have these buildings with like these actual like stairs that run out along the sides, along the balconies. And I'll actually show you a building which or existed in my last world tour, which is where is it? This little pink one down here, or pink white, off-white building here, which is actually based off a real building which is adjacent to Tokyo Tower, as well as this building here, this red one. That's why it's shaped so crazily, just because in reality there was a red building which is shaped something like this, adjacent to Tokyo Tower. I wanted to copy it as best as I could. And this little one here, and that white one over there. So these three buildings are real buildings, although this one's not very accurate because they couldn't get the dimensions quite right at the back, but it's close enough. This building you already saw in my last playthrough, and it's one that I just made up myself, but I think it turned out really nice. Here you can see the old style of traffic lights which I used to use before I used those player heads. I don't even know if I had these in the last video when you guys was watching. But I tried to use these cool trapdoors with the sort of circular holes in them to mimic traffic lights, and I think these were pretty effective. But you know, the newer ones that I've been making have been like so much better. So I really recommend using player heads and just figuring out how to use those. So there we go, more of that building. Here we've got a little petrol station here. That was some of my attempts at writing KFC and Coke and a bunch of other weird things. So this is just a little simple petrol station, but, you know, city needs a petrol station. It's important, so I thought this was a nice detail to add just on the corner here. So I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. And again, for these smaller little buildings that have like a purpose, I really like to add interiors. So again, using player heads for sandwiches, and like got a fridge here, some coffee dispenser things. We got a villager sneaking in through the exit. This little ice box here, and all this cool stuff. So, moving along, I actually got a really, really special building that I wanted to show you way on the other side, back where we just were, so I should have actually shown you that first. But you can just enjoy more views of the underside of Tokyo Tower here. I'm not finished with this building either. I need to add a lot more like air vents and ducts and weird piping along the top here, because the real one has like just a maze of like these weird pipes and stuff up the top of it for ventilation, and like it's a radio tower, so it has lots of electronics going on. But yeah. Oh geez, the heat's really getting to me, guys. Whew. Normally I'd have a fan blasting like right into my face, but since I'm filming I can't really do that, so it's really getting to me, this Australian heat. If you didn't guess, this is the theater. Now unfortunately I didn't know how to write theater in Japanese, let alone how to make the letters in Minecraft, so I did it in English, which is fine because it's my Minecraft city, so I can do what I want. But this theater is loosely based off some stuff that I also saw online, some videos of other people's cities, but it's like my own design. I just kind of got the inspiration for this exterior with these pillars and these faces, which I tweaked a little bit, but I forget the name of the city, but it's a pretty big YouTube channel that does cities that had similar ones in their city. So in here, I fully finished it. I'm really proud of how it turned out. Nice, fancy, very classical architecture ceiling, red carpet floors. We got the little place where you can buy tickets and food and shit at the counters here. Theater, posters, and in there is the grand hall sort of place. But we're going to go to one of the smaller, there's two main halls. So this is the first one I built. And here we go. If you've watched my drum tutorial on how to build Minecraft drums, because I tried to make a nice accurate drum kit with these also little amps on the side, you'd have seen this place, and it's one which I got loosely inspired by a really nice theatre that I went to see Opeth live in recently, called the Tivoli here in Brisbane. Great venue, and it's much bigger than this one, but I got inspired by that. Got a little piano here, of course the little exit sign, player heads again, great blocks. Bringing up drum kits, one thing that's been like really bummed me out recently, because I'm a huge Rush fan, for any of you who are interested in music. Canadian band Rush, their drummer and lyricist Neil Peart passed away like about 2 weeks ago or something like that, and I found out about a week ago, and it's really bummed me out since then, because he is like one of the world's greatest drummers, and I'm just a huge Rush fan. So yeah, I've been sad about that, and been listening to a lot of interviews and just their music recently. So just on a random side note, any Rush fans out there, or anyone who knows of their music, just yeah, it's kind of sad. But anyway, moving on. So there's my little theater number one. Whoops, going the wrong way. It's just the stairs up to the balcony. Going back down, we're going to go to the grand hall, which I'm really proud of. It came out real fancy-like. So here's all the little grand hall tables. This place, I haven't built the stage yet. There should be a stage here, but I spent a lot of work and time just making these really nice fancy chairs and tables, and I really like the way I use banners here as napkins on these plates, and it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. So the bottom level just has these tables, which, you know, if you're going to a concert or a theater play, you can watch from. But up the top we do have another balcony area with loads of seating. The stairs to get up to it are just on the side here. So yeah, it turned out really nice, really happy with it. I'm not finished, like I said. I still need to add a stage here. I might even expand the wall out a little bit. But I was really proud of how the lighting and the chandelier and the ceiling decoration that I did here, I think it turned out really cool, really fits the theme. And for anyone wondering what these things are, made of these dark oak wood stairs, these are sound diffusers running all along the sides of the walls here. So for anyone familiar with, working on sound engineering or something like that, you would have known what these are for. For the layperson out there, these are for making a room sound less echoey and more natural. So for places like this, which would be a big echoing hall, for a place where people might play music or have live theater shows, it's really important to add like these really randomized rough textures along the sides of the wall, so that it sounds natural and smooth sounding, and you don't get echo anywhere. Or you can use curtains and things, like I've got these red curtains, and they help dampen out the echoes as well, but you can make a room sound too dead as well, so that's kind of something that it's good to just get a balance of. So yeah, there's my little theater hall. I'm proud of it. We've also got little bathrooms here, like, same basic design, male and female here. The thing about bathrooms is I've noticed the female ones typically have more stalls because women need to go to the bathroom more often, but male ones have less, but they also have urinals. So that's what we got here. Anyway, moving along. So theater. And this is one of my favorite buildings in the entire city. And if you saw my drum tutorial again, you would have seen this one. This one is Rockstar Music Emporium. So you see, I'm really proud of this design out here. It's got this guitar on its side kind of thing cut off at the bottom, but nice rock, and then the star logo there. So this is the music store. And I'm really proud of how this turned out. So again, we got these drum kit designs that I'm really proud of. Lots of miscellaneous stuff like records on the walls, big skull posters just to see more rock and roll. Little play ahead radio and music note and a bunch of other crap lying around. Some records, a pile of records here. Lots of other crap. I don't even know what the hell this is, but I've pictured this as being like a little box where you could have like records that you can buy, but I couldn't find any. You can't pick up player heads unless they're in frames by pressing your scrolling button. I forgot what it is, but yeah. In here we just have some other random crap. I think of some of this stuff as like these little buttons, might be like guitar pedals and things. Here we've got like amps and speakers and stuff, pianos, and a little accordion thing. And these are all our guitars. So these are really tricky to make in the game because you really have to just kind of experiment and make weird shit because you really are limited to these massive blocks and like just fence posts to use as guitar necks. But I tried to do the best as I could, and you really got to use imagination, and hopefully from a distance they kind of look like guitars. But yeah, the thing about Minecraft is you really got to use your imagination, especially building something really complex and small, because you're limited to meter by meter square blocks for the most part for everything. So that's about everything in this section of the city. We're gonna go through, and we're gonna go through to some of the earlier sections of the city, which you would have seen some parts of, but I have done a lot, like everywhere. So lots of little details, lots of big details, just details everywhere. First thing you're gonna see is I built a couple new buildings around this section. So these didn't exist in the last video. This massive one here is a Japanese bathhouse, which I'm in the process of building. The building's complete, but the interior needs work, and the garden and everything. For those of you who don't know, they're like big pools, basically, or where public baths in Japan. They're pretty common and well known. But before we get to that, I'm going to show off these little buildings here. These buildings are actually not designed by me, as is the same case with a couple of buildings inside this Japanese castle. Just you can see them there. I haven't finished the walls around the castle yet. It's still a work in progress. But all these little buildings here are not designed by me. They're ones that I did off of YouTube tutorials. But using those tutorials, I then gained some like skills in order to build that massive bathhouse there. So first I'm going to show you these little things. And of course here we got a little playground, which I also just kind of saw somebody build in like a YouTube video, and I paused it and I copied it pretty much because I like the look of it. A little melon stand, this is all my design. But this whole building here, including the garden mostly, is not my design. It's by a Japanese YouTuber, so very fitting. He does beautiful work, so if I remember I will have the name in the description, but I probably won't. But I think up here is house designed by YouTuber Sevens Minecraft, so that's the YouTube name, and there's the date on which I built it and all that shit. So I like to hide little signs in places detailing that sort of stuff. But yeah, just a beautiful little Japanese house. It's fully furnished, and this guy's work is fantastic. So he's been a big inspiration on my more traditional Japanese style housing and builds and stuff like that, and yeah, just good stuff. Of course I added little bits like this room here, so it's sometimes I tweak stuff, but for the most part this is 100%, 99% his design, and it's a beautiful design. And I'm going to do more in the similar style. So I love the way he does the roofs. These are very accurate to traditional Japanese housing roofs. Again, this house is by the same Minecrafter, YouTuber again. Although the garden is... he didn't do a tutorial on the garden, but for some of the examples, he did use a similar garden. So I kind of tried to pause the video and copy it. I really like the design of this little plant bench, or whatever you call it, little thing made of signs. Also, this part of the building I just copied directly from his video, but I have no idea what the hell this is. But stuff like this, I know what it is. It's like the table, of course, and I just added a little player head that's meant to look like a thing of rice with chopsticks in it. So yeah, again, we got the... this is a different YouTube name, but I think it's the same guy, does the same videos, just because they look so similar. I don't know. But there's that one if you want to pause it. Just a little look around here, a little bath, some stuff. All good stuff. Toilet. We could go up here, have a little looky, because again, this is just a beautiful design, so I really want to show it off to you guys to see what, you know, what's capable and stuff like that, and what I've been working on. But yeah, so these ones, not my design, and nor are the ones over here, but the main structure of this castle is based off of Matsumoto Castle. You can Google that, Matsumoto Castle, and I basically just built this as a direct copy from photos of Matsumoto Castle, and the rest of it, like this whole area, I extended, because that castle is missing a lot of its main body, because, you know, it's an old castle, it probably burnt down parts of it and stuff like that. It happens. But yeah, since my last video, I have expanded it somewhat. I've actually built this front portion here, this gate here. This building disappeared. I'll explain that later on, because I'm kind of going a little bit too far to get to that quite yet. But these buildings are by that same Japanese YouTuber. They're, again, beautiful buildings, and I copied them directly. I think I just changed the roof color on this one, but other than that, this is pretty... Oh, a fox. Hello, fox. Pretty identical to his building, and I love it. That guy is a brilliant YouTuber, Minecrafter. Same with this guy. It's like a Japanese inn, designed by him, and it's fully furnished, and it's one of my favorite buildings in this city. So we can... Oh, it's somebody's here. I hear a villager. I don't know where he is. But, yeah, just to give you guys a tour of it. Fully furnished. Got lots of cool stuff going on. Little back area for a little spa. It's a lovely building. Lovely building. I recommend you, if you're building a Japanese-style city, do look at his designs, because they are really great, and they're really inspirational. Oh, there you are. Playing in the nook. Could you please, like, get out of there, because I kind of wanted to show off this little corner. Okay, he's just pissing on the pot plant. That's what he's doing. Whatever. You do you, man. You do you. So yeah, lots of stuff going on here. Really nice. I'll just leave through this way. But yeah, whoops. Those are those buildings. This building is loosely designed off some other guy. I think he's British or something, which I just googled, like Japanese temple or something. A shrine, I think, was the build. I forget the YouTuber, but I actually changed this one quite a bit. But the main frame of it is based off of some guy's design. I just didn't like the color palette fully, and I adjusted it a little bit and changed some stuff. But most of it's his design as well. So this little Japanese shrine. So I don't remember the name of this YouTuber. I might have put a sign up, I might have not. So sorry about that, but I want to be completely transparent with you guys when I copy a build or something like that, because I don't want to be too prideful and like steal people's designs and all that sort of stuff. But I think there's nothing wrong with like copying people's designs, and being honest about it, of course. So here's the gate area and this new pathway which I built. I'm really proud of how it's coming together. I still need to finish this off, and of course this will keep going around and we'll build more stuff and eventually close this complex off. I'm gonna have to move the river a little bit. There's another thing you can see that I've been working on. I just kind of use commands to fill this area in with grass and dirt and make a new area to build a city on, which I'll keep expanding in the future. Just because I didn't really like the big lake there. Even though I do like to use the actual terrain that Minecraft comes with, I still want to adjust it where needed. You know, like I have nothing against completely changing it. It's just a good starting point. Whereas a super flat world I'm not really keen on. Although I do really like that super flat worlds allow you to build bigger buildings because the the world height and stuff like that. Again, here we've got more player heads just at the front of this castle, and I've started to work on the interior a little bit more. Last time I said it was like, that I worked on the interior, but like it really didn't have that much done in there. But now I'm definitely going to be going back and researching a bit more on how these castles are actually interiored, because here I just made like a big open space, but it's not all that accurate to how it could be. But yeah, just to give you guys a rough idea of what I've been doing. It's been a lot of work. It really has, but I think it's definitely worth it because it's really coming together nicely. So I'll show you that when it's more done in the future. But I used to have a big staircase that just led from here right down to there, a big stone staircase, but I didn't like the look of it, so I made this really organic potsol, I think is what it's called, path that just runs really nice and smoothly and organically through these bamboo, around this little forest area, and it really brings out the shape of the land a lot better. And yeah, just working on blending these textures was really fun, and it turned out really nice. So this path is so much better than the original stone path that I had if you saw that initial video. Moving on, because I didn't really show you guys all that well, the building which, all these little buildings helped to inspire me to build is the massive bathhouse here. So I just want to kind of show you guys what that looks like from all sides. So this is the big front section. I actually kind of used photos of real bathhouses as inspiration for this sort of front, but I made this a lot bigger in scale than some of those ones. But I'm really happy with how this all this woodwork section turned out. It's a bit crazy looking, but it did come together really nicely. So just to kind of show you guys how all of this looks. And another thing which I really love is using these signs as like these sliding doors, which are really typical of Japanese housing, which is again something which I definitely got inspired from by this builder here, because he used a lot of those in his builds, and they're really cool looking. But yeah, so this building I'm really proud of because it's massive. Also here there's some banners which I randomly textured or patterned to make them look like there's some sort of Japanese symbols. It was really difficult to think of how to make them look that way. This one's actually looks like a Japanese character called E. But these two are just random because I couldn't really make any other Japanese symbols with banners, unfortunately. But it looks good as a little walkway entrance. So at the moment it doesn't have anything here. It's going to have a lot of like big pools and baths and things like that. I might have like a wall running down the middle because I think they segregate them by gender. I don't even remember. I need to do more research on bathhouses in Japan. And we're going to need like changing rooms and stuff like that. But at the moment it's a really nice big space. And this block, this stripped spruce, stripped spruce, just really is a beautiful colored block, which makes this sort of building really come to life. And for the walls here, we just use white concrete powder. And I really like this design of lamp, which I've used extensively in this world too, which is again from that borrowed from that Japanese YouTuber. So there's my bathhouse. The outside is all unfinished. I still need to really work on it. Make some really cool gardens as well. Is something I'm going to be working on in the future. This place you've seen. This what's it called? big shop complex. Supermarket. Sorry, the heat's really getting to me. I'm gonna like pass out if I keep going for too much longer, but there's so much more to see. So I've been working really hard. I did add a sign at the front, just says shop in English, of course. Some signs for shops. There's Target, McDonald's. This is Creepy Happy Face Enterprises. I don't know. It's a random made-up sign. Big W or whatever. And out here is a little cool thing that I've also added. Little cafe with these really cool umbrellas, which I really like the way they turned out. Again, not my original design for umbrellas, but I just googled in Google Images Minecraft umbrellas, and these my favorite, so I chose those. And it becomes a nice little cafe area, and we got the little seats here. And we got a little cafe stall, which again I used some player heads to add a hamburger or some sandwich there. And the banner writing, which is something you can do by custom decorating banners. It can be a little complex, but it is so effective on something like this. Later we'll go in the store, because I did add like 2 stores out of like the 20 or 30 that there should be eventually. Here we've got a loading dock, these big garage doors where trucks would wheel in and distribute goods for the shopping center out the back. And here is a little car park, which I'm really proud of, because we didn't have this last time when you guys were watching. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. We got these like cloth roofs up here, this nice sort of metal pillars that hold the roofs. Seriously, the heat's getting to me, guys. Sorry if I'm just mumbling. But I really need to add more cars throughout the whole city. But it's getting there. You've got a little shopping trolley space, so there's a rabbit humping the block over there. So it's really just the detailing like this that I feel brings the city to life. So even though I have built some massive buildings and done a whole bunch of stuff like that, it's just the little details which I've been having the most fun with recently, because they bring a city to life. And furnishing buildings like this, a little I don't know, not convenience store, this little cafe type place here, which has been a lot of fun. So I also have beds everywhere in the city, just because I hate it when it gets nighttime and I don't feel like using commands to change the day, so I just build a bed and sleep quite often. But yeah, just to kind of show you guys some of the furnishing here, more player head hamburgers, and the fridge over there. Ice blocks are good for fridges as well. So yeah, there's one of many car parks that this city will eventually have. But moving on, there's some more road work which I've done, because like I said, I want to make the roads a lot more interesting than they have been, like these straight roads. Like, I'm really proud of these little turns that I've put in the roads, but in general I want to have them angled and going up and down and all sorts of stuff. So this is my most complex road area so far. So we got this road that goes all the way from that, the central part of the city, I'd call it, down to this new island area, because there's a little river that divides this side here and this big river here, or yeah, where the bridge goes over. So this had nothing on it last time, and now I've started working on making this really complex intersection between these 3 main roads. And I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. In my city, the cars drive on the left, because I live in Australia, and we drive on the left, not like you weirdos over in the US that drive on the wrong side of the road. Ironically, the right side of the road. But yeah, so I hope all this marking and stuff is accurate. I also think they drive on the left in Japan. That's what I've gathered from looking on Google Earth, but I haven't paid close attention, so I may be wrong. But I think they drive on the left as well, so that's what I've done in my city, because it is Tokyo inspired. So I hope all this intersection jargon is correct, because I don't drive yet. I just got my learners, so I don't remember any of the road rules after I did the theoretical test and stuff. Since then I forgot it all, but I will relearn it, and hopefully I'll learn to drive soon. But at the moment I don't, so I'm not an expert at road markings. So I'm in the process of learning it as I build this city. So apologies to anyone who's looking at this going, geez man, your road markings are effed up. But yeah, my idea is like cars drive on the left, they can either stick in this lane and continue over my little red bridge, or they can go in this lane and then they can turn and drive onto that one, or if they go driving from that side, they can stick on this left side and turn down here, or they can go down this little lane and wait by the little line here, and when it's clear they can turn and they can drive down that road. Hope that makes sense. Sorry if you guys don't care and are just bored by that. But moving along. This bridge I think you saw in my last episode. I haven't changed it, but I really like it. I don't know if I'll keep these sections here, because they're not really needed or on real bridges. I just thought it helped to make it look bigger, and I kind of like that. But I might move them because it'll probably be more accurate without these little sections. But I'm happy with this bridge. It looks nice, though I wish it was higher up because it's going to be hard for some bigger boats to go under here. But you know what? That's fine either way. We can fit. That's all that matters. This area here, I turned it into a little bit of a beach. I added some beach balls. There's a bed. I'm gonna add some like proper like umbrellas and like little beach chairs and stuff. At the moment, I've just smoothed out the texturing on the land to make it look nice. Because one thing that's a bit tricky with cities, especially not working on a super flat world where you make an artificial river, is getting the city to transition well into the natural environment. So that's something that I'm gonna have to work on quite a bit. But this, I think, turned out kind of nice. There's a little beach area by the bridge. And, you know, you'd go up on these steps. You have little benches here. And you can come up here and play soccer at this little soccer field. And the children will probably play here, which would be cool. I like to add dumpsters throughout my city and, like, garbage and stuff. Because that definitely adds some, you know, makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more grimy. So that's something you'll notice a lot in my city. And now, here we are at the front of my big shopping center. Here we can see the main busway in front of it where people, you know, after shopping, most shopping centers have busways near them. As somebody who doesn't drive yet, I have a lot of experience at these busways. But you'll begin to see my first two shops. So ignore this thing. This is just how I get player heads, because you can't pick up player heads when they're already positioned, like the custom ones. They just turn into Steve heads. But if you pick them up from an item frame, they actually remain in the world, and you don't have to like generate them from command blocks every time. So I have like a library of these in a building I'll show you later. But yeah, just a quick look around my empty store to begin with. Got a couple of bins, and these blocks I'm going to get rid of eventually when I actually install proper lighting, like I've started to do down here. It just takes forever, so I haven't done it yet, so there's lots of floating sea lanterns. Like here. But this is my second clothing store in this city, but my first one in this shopping center. And knowing shopping centers, like 90% of them are going to be clothing stores. Unfortunately, for somebody like me who hates clothing stores, that's the reality. But here we've just got a simple clothing store. I use these item heads, or player heads, as little bundles of clothing, some snow, some linen, some carpets, all this sort of stuff. Banners are also really good. This is a really cool design, which again I saw in a YouTube video for how to make like little racks of clothing or towels or something. Little counter here, some like storage boxes, all the typical stuff you'd see in a clothing store. This is just some banners as more clothing. So yeah, nice little, I'm happy with the way this turned out, and it's going to be a lot of similar stuff going on for all this blank space that I've got going on here. There's a lot to do in the shopping center. And this is my favorite store in the entire city right here. This is the store I call Sushi. I don't know if Sushi actually means anything in Japanese, so it might be like racist or offensive or some shit, but that's what I call it. It's my sushi place, and I love it. This is my, yeah, I had so much fun building this place. This is the first place I built using player heads as decoration. So you can see you got little, some of them have name tags. You got all these little sushi rolls, and they just look perfectly sized when you put them on an item frame. Because, you know, normally a player head's that big, but if you get an item frame, which are they here? Get an item frame, put it down. You can put a cash register in it, and it looks like a little baby cash register, and that just is perfect as plates with sushi. And we got these little bento boxes, like pickle cups and ramen noodle places. We'll build a lot of ramen noodle stores, because I have like lots of textures for player heads of ramen noodles. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun building this little enclosure here. We've got these cut up fish, which are in sections. So we got the head, the body, and the tail. These are all player heads, and they're just beautiful as little stuff that we can add. And we got our menu up here as well, which is really cool. These can be, I don't know, condiments or something, the cash register, and little kitchen area. This part is actually a little bit funny, because if somebody comes into this world and steps on it, they're gonna ruin it. Because watch this. Yeah, the pressure plate activates the trapdoor under it instantly, and it breaks and then goes back to normal. So it just looks like you step on it and break the pressure plate. So whenever I show off the kitchen or want to go in the kitchen, I have to go past the cash register, which you're not supposed to. But yeah. So there's just some of these like little waving cats that they have, which are meant to bring like luck and money to businesses. These little Asian cats statues which wave. They're really cute. So luckily there's a player head of these, so I add these in like every store. Countertops, little sink, and a little cooking station with more of the what are they called? Little fire bit things under them, campfires, which turn out really nice. In here we just have more like fish and sushi storage areas, and a pink picture from the shop next door. Moving along. So yeah, that's my favorite little part. Little build that I've built in the shopping center is this sushi place, because I love sushi. It's a great little place. I've added some more details to a lot of buildings, like this building here. I added all these, like, it used to just be like that and look kind of boring, but I went in one day and I'm just like, you know what, let's make it look nicer. So I've done a lot of that throughout the city. So you'll see a lot of stuff that you saw in my last video that I've just tweaked, and it's really made it a lot better. So we got more of these traffic lights here, which again I love. These as a detail. All the street lamps really bring the city to life. Little bus stops. And in here, this is where I get all the player heads. So in here you see, this is my collection of all the ones I've used, almost all of them. I have actually lost a couple before, like putting them in an item frame, so then you kind of lose them. So I'm almost out of space here. I only have one space for a new design. You've got all this clothing, beach balls, some like food and more clothing, some videotapes, newspapers, beer cans, bread, yellow muck, Colonel Sanders, not sandals, like a siren for... a siren light for, you know, police cars and shit, and all the sushi and things are all here. There's me. That's my player head. Yeah, and I'll just quickly show you how you use these command blocks. So in here you see I have all this like gibberish writing. So you go on this, you just Google player heads and you click the first website that comes up, and then you have just lists upon lists of heads. You can search up whatever design you want. They'll give you a little link, and you copy and paste that link into one of these command blocks. So you actually have to use commands to get a command block. You just do like press T, and then you go slash give, and then I go to my username, which is that, and then you go command block, command, there you go, and you press enter, and you get a command block. Then you get a button, or like a lever, or whatever the hell you want. And then you copy and paste the thing into this area. You click done, and then you should have something like, whoops, did that too soon, but there's it. Where are they? There we go. There's one with a command in it already. Then you press done, and then you press the button, and you will get whatever that command, whatever block that command dictates that you should get. Like whichever user has a head that's a stack of clothing like this is. So that's how you get the player heads, and they're so cool for detailing. So I highly recommend you get on that. But yeah, moving on. This building I've upgraded quite a little bit. I call it the Cello building because when I was randomly trying to put like ads and stuff on it, I just randomly made up a Minecraft font, which is this, and I just wrote Cello because I couldn't think of anything. But as you can see up the top, I have added the word Cello up there, so it is officially a big, like 1970s designed square business building, and I've actually furnished like one floor at the top, which you can see here. So I'll just break and enter. But yeah, lots of like little computer stations where the people of Japan or whatever country this city is based in, I think of it as Japan, would slave in until they want to commit Sudoku, which is actually a problem in Japan, which is kind of scary. But yeah, just to give you an idea of the interior of this building, most of these floors actually don't have quite enough ceiling space to fit as nice interiors as I can in, so I've only really focused on the top here, but we'll see. Maybe one day I'll fully furnish it, because this is what it looks like now. But yeah, it used to be like a solid square of black glass almost, and then I added some more ribbing along the sides here, these brown wood bits and this cyan terracotta ribbing behind that, and it looks a lot nicer. I've also added these panels here just to break up the monotony of the color, and just to kind of give it more shape. Along the side here, I've also added a little bit of a jutting out angular thing, because I wanted it to look, you know, less square, and all in all, this has become one of my favorite buildings. It's like, you know, a very simple square building all in total, but the Cello Tower is now one of my favorite buildings in my city. And moving down from it, we'll talk about that building later on, right behind it, because there's a for those of you who saw my first video, you would have noted that that building used to be here. Now to move a whole building, that seems kind of crazy, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. But going down here, we have our train station, our subway station. The only one in the city so far. I actually want to build a lot of trains in my city up in the future. I want to add like above ground, like above the floor road height. I want to put them like, you know, these really tall sort of places which have lots of train track lines, but for the moment we just have a subway. So I actually merged the building under Cello Tower, this building here, with like, the subway used to be like a little tiny hole that you just go down in here, but I actually built a bigger building that merged into this building, which then merged into this building, so it's all become one complex, because this is just like a seaside resort hotel type building here. Again, more of these little restaurant umbrella things going here, which I really am proud of. They help bring life to the front of the seaside here. But yeah, this building here with the balconies is now merged with the complex that's under Cello Tower. And to that I then added this little roofed area, and it has become the main hub for the train subway stations. Here we just got some soda machines. This is a gym which I will be moving because this is meant to just all connect up to the train station. This is meant to be the extra like little shopping complex above the train station. You can see I've been experimenting with some flooring, the patterns here, which is turning out nice. This one I also saw on a YouTube video and I really liked it, so I copied it so I wouldn't forget it. But yeah, all this gym stuff we're going to put somewhere else and actually build a gym, or a gaim, as I like to call it. And down here we have two train station platforms, platform 1 and 2. So we're going to go down this one, which is the first one I built, which you saw in the other video, I think. But since then I've worked a lot on it and it looks a lot nicer. So yeah, we've got our train already in here. This is the platform. The other platform's not finished, but it's going to get there eventually. And as you can see, we got my train here. Really proud of this little train design. I love using these stone grinders, grindstone, for wheels here, and using the anvils as the tracks. I'm really proud of how the tracks came out and all that sort of stuff. But since you saw that last video, I actually had to move this entire train station down 2 blocks. So I had to copy all of everything I built. I destroyed the whole train and stuff that I built initially, and I just moved it lower. Because it was, the train station was high enough that it was actually encroaching on some of the rooms in the buildings that I built above it, which really sucked. So I just manned up and I moved the whole damn thing down. It took a long time, but it was worth it because now it's really coming together. And originally it was just meant to be one side, but then I thought, you know, fuck it, it'll be a lot more impressive and cooler if I built a second side here, and it's a lot more spacious now, so I'm really proud of how that's coming together. And I like to add little details around the place, like adverts here, the drinks, and the here we have like little security cameras, speakers, again using player heads, and these little gates here. Even these skull blocks, the wither skull, their mouths can be perfect for like adding like as little like go-card scanners. Here in Australia or Brisbane we have go-cards that you scan, but some people have to like physically like ram in a card to like open little gates or something to get on a train in different places in the world. So that's what those are meant to represent. Again, the exit signs, they really help to liven up the place. And here we have like the little ticket office, which also fully furnished and looking pretty nice and snazzy. So I'm all, again, all the little details is what I'm proud of. The interior of the trains isn't really fully furnished. I can't. It's hard to fit into these doors, sorry. But just to kind of show you, it doesn't have anything really in it because it's really difficult to do. Whoops. But I am really proud of how the train has come together regardless. So there's the front of the train, again using the traffic light blocks as the lights, which I think looks really nice. So yeah, we'll leave this platform and move along. This video's getting long and I need to turn on the fan soon because I am just dying. So, this area out the front here, I've been having a lot of trouble with making it look good, because it's next to this building, which I really like this building. It's a nice, simple, white, bright building, so like another hotel resort. But, you know, I've been trying to make the station look really important and, like, easy to find, because before it was like a little tiny nook that you go down. I didn't really like that. Now it's all built into the skyscraper as it should be, so you can actually go through the front of it over there and theoretically make your way into the train station as it should be. So you've got this entrance, which I need to make better, but you know. This front area I wasn't happy with, and I'm still working on it, but I added this little arch roofed thing here, which does make it look a little bit better, hopefully. But the other side of this building I'm really happy with, because I worked a little bit on the port side here just to try and make it look nicer, and I'm really happy with the little pattern that I put in here. Little fountain with fish if they're still alive. Where are the fish? They probably died. Let's just get more fish. There we go. Bucket of tropical fish, because fish come in buckets now. There we go. So yeah, and yeah, just I'm hoping to add a lot more nice spaces around the waterfront, because it's nice to have nice spaces at the waterfront, isn't it? I think I showed you this boat last time, which again is my own design. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Again, all these buildings here are my own design, so none of these are copies as well. This one, I think I showed you last time. I'm really happy with the way this sort of weird angle here turned out, which is another attempt to, again, not have buildings fixed to the grid like this one, which is very boxy, but I still like the way it turned out. This building here and that building there have something in common, which is I moved parts of them, if not all of them. But here, the top of this building I put over there just because it was too tall. I want to actually make the taller parts of my city in their own sort of special districts and kind of give more space for the city to breathe. So I didn't really like that this was a bit too tall for me, but I didn't want to destroy the top of this building here. So I discovered a new command, and the command is the clone command, which means that you can actually clone like a section of building or something and move it somewhere else in the game. And I use that command to move the top of this building and put it over there. I still need to like integrate it into the land a bit more. And I also use that same command to get rid of this building here, to copy it and put it over there, which I'm really happy about, because it was my second ever building in this city, and it was just kind of in the way. It was way too close to the Japanese castle, because I ended up expanding the castle towards it, and having this huge skyscraper right next to like a beautiful like a medieval Japanese castle looked really odd to me, and I wanted to give more space between the castle and the city, so you can have like nice parks and things to like look at the castle from. So this it used to be right here, and it was really close to this little tower here. So I moved it way over there, and I'm so happy that I did. So I'll show you that now, how it's integrated into the space over there. Because it was actually really difficult, because the clone command, I'll actually get rid of this fish here, the clone command couldn't take the building in one go. I had to build it in like 6 different sections or something, because it's a huge building and it can only clone so much of it at once. Then you have to like place it over there using coordinates, and then you have to go back and you have to take the coordinates of the other 2 axes of the next chunk and then bring it back and place it there. And there was this whole thing where I wasn't sure how the building was going to orient itself on the place where I placed it, and it went a bit wrong a few times, and actually the first time I placed it, it like placed it into this building. So this chunk of building here, I actually had to rebuild after destroying the initial chunk that I copied and pasted, because I was trying to get it to be like here. But instead it like pasted off to the side here for whatever reason, and then parts of it then went into this building, and so then I moved it forward and I got it right here, which is really nice because it now works with this roadway really well, and it's integrated really nicely into the landscape at the moment. So after I fixed this up, I pasted the rest of the layers of the building. It took like an hour or two, maybe not 2, but it took long. But I was really glad to be able to save this building, because I knew from a long time that I would have to eventually dispose of the building in that area, because I like the castle way more than I like the building, and I wanted it to have the space it deserves to kind of be a main feature in the city. Because I don't want to cram buildings together, because that doesn't look very good. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. I'm really happy where it is now. It looks really good next to Cello Tower. And it fits better by the water side, because at the front it has these massive windows that just look over the waterfront, which is something you'd want in a building like this. So at the front here you can see this kind of cool curved design, which I was really proud of. And yeah, I'm glad this building has a nice new home, and around here I can build some more stuff. Initially, I wanted to make this area the docks for like big industrial shipping containers and ships. Underwater here, I've actually started building a ship, which I was building off a tutorial, which I built in my old world, my old city world, on my computer, which broke, and I lost all that world, which I also built my first Tokyo Tower on. So this is my second attempt at a city, but I built the ship on that one from a tutorial, and it was gorgeous, so I wanted to rebuild it. But now I'm going to make this area not like an industrial dockside, but something nicer. So I really, I'm probably going to still build the ship, but unfortunately it's going to look a little weird next to like a nice apartment building complex around the water side, instead of like an industrial complex. But I'll build the industrial zone somewhere else. Like I said, I really want to zone out the city well, to make it more natural and accurate to real life. But yeah, I'm gonna move on a little bit. So this building you saw, that one you saw, apart from the moved ceiling. I'll make it daytime too, actually. That building you saw, because it's my first building in the city, I might move it as well, because I'm thinking that whole chunk of land on that whole block next to the castle, like even those 2 buildings there and this one, I might move and just make this like a big park for this castle. I might even make it like in the old city, if that makes sense, where we have like these traditional Japanese buildings, just like this one, which I think is my design. Yeah, it's my design, but it's based again off of the style of like that Japanese YouTuber very heavily. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I've built a couple more, just like these older style buildings here, and we've got this like little horse carriage and little market stalls. So this whole area is meant to be like the old city, where we've got like this little beer or sake area, Japanese flags and stuff. But this whole area, this complex, is meant to be the old city, where it's just sort of circling the big Japanese castle, because I think that would be very fitting rather than having modern buildings like right up next to this castle. So I'm going to make all of this side, those buildings. I might keep these buildings here because again the copy and paste command is a bit of a bitch, especially if you have to like orient the buildings properly and you don't want it to destroy anything, and you have to do it in multiple chunks and all this stuff, so it's a bit of a pain. I haven't finished this monorail here, and I'm actually considering removing it or making it taller. Just because, I don't know, it just feels too close to ground level, and I'm not entirely happy with it. So put in the comments below, tell me, should I keep this monorail? Should I put it somewhere else, or should I completely remove it? Because I really don't know what to do quite yet. But we're just gonna move along. We're almost finished, guys. I've been filming for over an hour now, so I hope this hasn't been super boring, because I have been going really in depth with this stuff. But just to kind of show you how it's all panning out now. Here you can see my first experiments with the clone command. So I made this random structure and then I pasted it over there, so I can actually duplicate the experiment and show you that again, just in case you guys are curious. So T slash clone, yeah, and then that's your first coordinate. Then the second coordinate, you go up here, press T, and then you press the up arrow to get the first coordinate back. Then you press space, then you press tab, and tab will automatically put in your current coordinates of the block that you're looking at. Then you press enter again, and that will say unknown command. But we're not done. We're going to go over to a random place, wherever you want to put your new structure. And then we just find a block that we want to be the base of it, and then we press T again, press up again, that'll retrieve your last unsuccessful command, then you press space again, and then you press tab to fill in this coordinate, and then when you press enter, there we go, we've cloned our little building, or whatever the hell this monstrosity is. And yeah, that's basically how I moved this building and that whole massive skyscraper, but I had to do it in chunks. This one I think was one chunk, but it was like barely able to do it. Maybe I did it in 2 chunks, I forgot. So there's a limit to how much you can copy and paste. I think this was 1 chunk. This is about the limit of size of what you can copy and paste in one go. But yeah, I like the top of this building is a nice sort of more Art Deco style building. I like the way it turned out. So this is going to become its own little office block. This way we're going to have more roads, more buildings. I think I'm going to actually lower the ground as we progress in this direction, so that I can make the skyscrapers bigger, because the world height really pisses me off, because there's a lot of limits on the world height, like you saw with my Tokyo Tower. I'm going to, extend the road that way. I'm going to keep extending the city. I'm going to keep working on it for as long as I can be bothered, and yeah. One thing before we finish, because I've pretty much shown you everything just besides like roads that I've been building off into the distance. Actually, get a potion of swiftness because I'm moving kind of slowly. One last thing before we go is I'm gonna show you my world map, just to give you an overview of how the whole city looks from the sky. Not that you're not seeing the world from the sky, but it's hard to show you guys kind of the whole scale of everything. And my map's pretty much totally up to date and might be missing a few blocks here and there. But it's something that I really wanted to show off to you guys, and I forgot earlier on. And so you can kind of see where all these roads extend to and all that sort of stuff, because I have expanded them quite a bit. And if you have any suggestions and ideas for future buildings that I could do let me know that in the comments below. I have way more ideas than I can handle right now, like on my own, but I would like that viewer input and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. Like I want to build an ice rink. I want to build like a massive sports stadium. I want to build the Daiei building in Japan. It's spelled like diet building. Here's the map, just so you guys can see all the extensive roadwork. But that's like the Parliament House building in Tokyo, Japan. In the original Gojira, Godzilla 1954 film, Godzilla destroyed that building. So I'm like, yes, I have to put that in. And it's going to be a huge undertaking. But I want to do that. And I just have a bunch of other ideas that I want to put in the city. So any ideas that you guys have, do let me know that in the comments below. I'd be super excited to hear that. But yeah, for now, this has been everything. So this is the big main road that I'm working on. It's like one of the biggest roads in the city, and it's gonna go all the way, like way down over this way. It's gonna connect up to this road once I build it in the future. The castle here, I'm going to like make the island go something like this perhaps. And I'm going to build the whole exterior of it will just be extensions of the castle wall all around it. And around in this area, it's going to be all those traditional Japanese houses. And this area is going to be more heavily larger city focused, as well as down here. And yeah, we're just going to keep expanding. We're going to build up here in this area because I built this roadwork around here. I'm going to curve the road off this way because there's big mountains over here. So I don't know what to do with the mountains. They're kind of tricky. I've also got this mountain range here, which I don't want to destroy. I want to integrate into the city, but they're kind of oddly placed. So any ideas for what I can put on a little mountain like in the middle of a city's district, let me know. And yeah, basically I've just got a lot of space, but also a lot of ideas. And I hope you've enjoyed this little playthrough or a world tour. I hope it gave you ideas, and I hope my rambling and sweating wasn't too unbearable. Because it was for me, and I need to end this video now because it's going to be way too long to upload if I go any longer. And I'm going to die from this heat now because I think it is like approaching 40 degrees Celsius. And I don't like that. So yeah. Thank you super duper whooper nooper cooper looper duper much for watching. Be sure to like and or subscribe. And yeah, go away now. Bye.